This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Jason Rigby with the Albuquerque Business Podcast. Want to talk to you today about how the Marine Corps is going to help you open up your business again as a leader. I think this is probably one of the best podcasts that I'll ever do. I was in the Marine Corps. Many of you know that. I've shared that I don't know how many times, but there are things that the Marine Corps teaches you about battle and about leadership, especially how you can overcome adversity, how you can push yourself way above and beyond any possibility of what you can think. But what I like about the Marine Corps is warfighting techniques. And they have advanced schools on this. And, as you move up, from rank from private all the way to a sergeant to a master sergeant, the list goes on, sergeant major. And then, if you're on the officer side, then you're a colonel and then general, and all throughout the whole process, there is these underlying core tendencies that the Marine Corps holds that I feel is something that we all need to learn. But I want to kind of get into detail. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take the phases in what the government wants us to do about opening up America with our businesses, what they would have us to do. I'm going to take that and then I'm going to turn around and go through a Marine Corps manual about warfighting if we're dealing with a situation where we have an enemy, we need to defend ourselves. And what do we do to plan? Because let me tell you something. Here's what I'm hearing from business leaders. This is the reason I'm doing the podcast. I want you to listen, guys. So many people are waiting till May 15th, the magic day, and then they just want to open up and think that everything is going to be all fine and back to normal, and now we're good to go. They have not trained their employees. I'm going to tell you something. They have this new pickup and delivery and all this stuff, and people, I had a guy with no mask, no gloves, go to hand me something through the window and then sticks his head in the window to talk to me. And he's like inches away from my face. And I'm like, hey, buddy, you need to back the fuck up. I'll never go there again. You had some minimum wage employee that you did not take the time to train, to teach about social distancing, to take the little steps in being able to put some gloves on, to put some protective gear on. In the Marine Corps, I'm telling you, when you get that siren that comes out, when there's gas being thrown, and you know that it's chemical warfare time and you're not mop suited up, I'm telling you what, you're going to die. You're going to die a horrific death. We used to practice that over and over and over again. Make sure you have mop level 1, mop level 2, which is just a gas mask, which is putting on the whole freaking rubber suit outfit. Whenever you're dealing with nerve agents and all this stuff, it could be absolutely horrific and wipe out a whole platoon just off of that. And you have to practice, because practicing makes it when a situation hits, then you fall to the level of your training. We all know that. When we get into a stressful situation, we fall to the level of our training. How much training have you done with your employees? How much communication have you done? How much planning have you done to enter this new battlefield May 15th? And I hope that you took what I just said and you'll take it as constructive criticism and you'll look at it and say, yeah, you're right, Jason. I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting until May 15th, and then I'm just planning on opening my doors and hoping customers show up again. Think about this. If you were going into battle, would you just say, oh, okay, we're going to hang out once the enemy hits? You guys just shoot them. No, there's all kinds of fields of fire. There's flanking maneuvers. There's all kinds of stuff that you're going to do. You're going to plan. You're going to look at every situation that's going to happen to you. You're going to obsess over that. And then guess what? You're going to be prepared. So I'm at whitehouse.gov. This is done by Republicans, Democrats, everyone. Phase 1, for states and regions that satisfy the gating criteria, it says. Individuals, all vulnerable individuals should continue shelter in place. We all know that. all individuals when in public, should maximize physical distance, social settings of more than 10 people, where appropriate distance may not be practical, should be avoided unless precautionary measures are observed. Avoid socializing groups of more than 10 people. We know that. Minimize non-essential travel and adhere to CDC guidelines regarding isolation following travel. If you do not have CDC guidelines that you've posted, if you have not gone over those with your employees and had your debriefing so that they know what to do exactly, if you have not provided the materials for them, then you're failing as a leader with the opening for May 15th. Guys, you've got to be prepared. You've got to know. Be proactive, not reactive. I say that over and over and over again. This is important, guys. This is the state of your business. This is an opportunity to knock it out of the park and to learn from this situation, to move forward and be a better leader, which in turn, the ROI on that is only going to be hundreds and hundreds of % of what your business has potential to do. Employers, here we go. Continue to encourage telework whenever possible and feasible with business operations. If you have the ability for employees to stay home, maybe you do a hybrid. Maybe half the day they work at home. Change up your schedule, guys. Be flexible. If you have employees and they're kicking ass and they're working the way that they should be at home, why not let them work at home? Maybe this is something new for you. Maybe you need to look at this opportunity and say, hey, let's continue this, because in November, when the flu season hits again, and I know they may go to lockdown again, we're going to have done this for 6-8 months, and we're going to know exactly what to do. What is the work-life balance would be then if you let them work 2, 3, 4 hours at home and then maybe come in? Maybe they can work 3 days a week and then come into work. Maybe your work is just a pit stop for training, for paperwork, for getting coaching from you. Think about it. If possible, return to work in phases. Maybe you have one crew on and then the other crew leaves and goes home and works. Lots of different, you guys get flexible with this. Close common areas where personnel are likely to congregate and interact are enforce strict social distancing protocols. Have you gone through your business and looked at that? Are they going to be like on top of each other, stocking different shelves? Maybe do you need to have a big piece of plexiglass, so when somebody sneezes, when they come up to the little cash register that you have there that's all open? Common areas, what does that look like? You need to put a sign up that says only 3 people allowed in the break room at a time. You don't want just people hanging out, coughing all over each other, guys. Think about this. Minimize non-essential travel and adhere to CDC guidelines regarding isolation following travel. If you don't have to travel, why right now? Let's wait and let this just blow by. And I know you may think it's conspiracy theory. You may think it's whatever. Maybe Bill Gates did this, or Donald Trump, or Nancy Pelosi, or the NRA, or who knows. But I'm going to tell you something, guys. I know what I can control, and that's my business, and that's the welfare of my employees. Strongly consider special accommodation personnel who are members of a vulnerable population. If you have elderly that work for you and they don't feel safe coming in, work something out with them, guys. Then they have specific types of employers. Visits to senior living facilities. Be careful with that. Large venues, gyms. And it says bars should remain closed. Phase 2. Here we go. For states where there's no evidence of rebound that specify that gating criteria a second time. I'm going to go right to employers. Continue to encourage telework whenever possible and feasible with business operations. This is phase 2, guys. They're saying that. What is this system of having to get up at 7:30 in the morning to get to work by 9 o'clock and get in rush hour traffic and then turn around and leave right at 4:30? They already given you facts. Guys, listen, I hope as a business leader, listen to this, that there's only 2 hours at the most of productivity for an 8-hour day. Think about that. I want you guys to think about that. So for 6 hours a day, they're hanging out at your place. Why not have them hang out? Maybe you can rent a smaller place because people are working at home. Maybe all you need is a nice office to have people come and visit you. I don't know what it is, but and maybe your business requires for people to be there, consistently. Maybe they need to stock shelves and stuff like that, but maybe you could be like a supermarket and say, hey, you like working late nights? Why don't you come in at 4 and work to midnight? Here's the key. Get creative, guys. Don't have them in. I would never have people in rush hour traffic. Why do they need to be a part of that and take 45 minutes and be frustrated by the time they get to work? Let them come 30 minutes earlier or 30 minutes later. Have them work 4/10s if you have to have them there. Think how to get creative, guys. Phase 2 for employers is close common areas where personnel like to congregate, interact, or enforce moderate social distancing protocols, which we all know. We need to do that with our customers. You may not think anything of the gloves and the mask and all that because I keep hearing that. But there are people that are going to walk in, customers. They're going to be respectful that you're being respectful of them. Customers first, guys. Have them put the mask on. Have them put the gloves on. Do all that, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to make you feel respectful. And when all this stuff clears and you can buy masks real cheap and gloves real quick, stock up for November, guys. Let's be proactive. Strongly consider special accommodations for personnel who are members of a vulnerable population. And then phase 3. Here we go. Employers, resume unrestricted staffing of work sites. That is awesome. What are vulnerable individuals? I want to get into that. Elderly individuals, individuals with serious underlying health conditions, including high blood pressure, chronic lung disease, diabetes, obesity, asthma, and those whose immune system is compromised, such as by chemotherapy for cancer and other conditions require such therapy. If you look at 99.9% of the people that are passing away from this, and if you've had a loved one pass away from this, you know this, it is because of these underlying health conditions. These are why people are passing away. It's high blood pressure, chronic lung disease, diabetes, obesity, asthma, and immune systems that are compromised through chemotherapy. A lot of people have passed away because of these. And I'm telling you guys, if you have somebody that's like that, they're vulnerable. And I encourage you to work with them and to get specifically what you need to do to accomplish that. Maybe they need to be on unemployment longer. I don't know. You need to figure that out. Those are the phases. And I want to get into now the Marine Corps. There's MCWP 5-1, Marine Corps Warfighting Publication. It's Marine Corps Planning Process. It was published in January of 2000 to Department of Navy's headquartered United States Marine Corps. The Marine Corps forces at all echelons of command to conduct a range of military operations. The planning associated with these diverse operations, notice the word diverse, guys. I want you to get that. The planning associated with these diverse operations has demonstrated the fundamental soundness of the process. They've tried this everywhere. They have gone through and looked at every wartime situation, every enemy that they face, and they said, we've tried it in the desert, we've tried it in the jungles, we've tried it everywhere. In all of these diverse operations, there is some fundamental soundness of process. Practical application has also revealed the portions of the planning process, goes into that, and then it goes into, as emerges a term requiring further emphasis. Listen to this. A fundamental responsibility of command, are you as a business owner, design is present not only in planning, but also throughout the planning, execution, assessment. Think about this. A fundamental responsibility of command, design is present not only in planning, but also throughout the planning, execution, assessment. It's planning, guys. Then it's how do you plan? What are you planning for? Then it's execution. How are we going to execute this, guys? Here's step by step what we're going to do. Then after we execute, I'm going to give you assessments on this. Sticking your head in a window and talking to me and getting, I don't care how nice you are, will freak everyone out. I literally will not go back there. That was super rude to me. Whether that person realized or not, I don't know how many other people he's doing that, but I guarantee you that place of business lost a bunch of business. And I could spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars there, like the business, not doing that anymore. This publication emphasizes the importance of understanding the problem. Ooh, listen to this. This publication emphasizes the importance of understanding the problem, the environment, the enemy, and the purpose of an operation. You need to understand the problem, COVID-19. How are you going to interact with your customers? How are you going to open? What you need to do specifically to open safely, to be productive and have ROI. You need to understand the environment. What is the environment you're in? How are your customers feeling? The enemy, COVID-19 is the enemy. You need to understand the enemy and the purpose of an operation. This awareness is fundamental to the first step in planning for merely named mission analysis and has accordingly been renamed problem framing to better convey its purpose and importance. I love this problem framing. Problem framing. Think about this. You're going to take the problem and you're going to frame it. It's like taking a beautiful painting and then putting it in a frame, sitting up on a wall so that it can be admired. You're going to frame out that problem, or framing a house. Think about this. I want to get into a little bit more on here. I'm going to get past this. Okay, table of contents. They're so rich, bro. Planning overview, problem framing, course of action development. These are the chapters. Course of action war game, course of action comparison and decisions. So how do you compare things? How do you evaluate courses of action? And you can get this for free. It's marines.mil. You can get all leadership publications, everything for free on marines.mil. There's a lot of great. This is MCWP 5-1. It's a free PDF online. You can go on the internet and just put that and you're done. Planning is an art and science of envisioning a desired future and laying out effective ways of bringing it about. That's a Marine Corps doctoral publication, MCDP 5 for planning. So this is what their view of planning is. Planning is the art and science. It's art and science of envisioning a desired future and laying out effective ways of bringing it about. What is your desired future for your business? And how are you going to lay it out effectively to bring that desire into fruition? The Marine Corps' doctrine and philosophy of maneuver warfare describes planning as an essential part of the broader field of command and control. The aim of command and control is to enhance the commander's ability to make sound and timely decisions. Effective decision-making requires both the situational understanding to recognize the essence of a given problem and the creative ability to devise a practical solution. Two things, guys: effective decision-making, situational understanding, so that you recognize the essence of a given problem, and creative ability to devise a practical solution. You need to understand the problem, recognize the essence of the problem, and then have a creative outcome and a solution of the problem. Hence, an essential function of planning is to promote understanding of the problem, the difference between existing and desired conditions. What is the existing condition? What is that desired condition that you want? Have you done that with your business? What is the existing condition? Think about this, guys. What is the existing, what's happening right now in your business? Well, I've got 3 people in my business and, I'm waiting till May 15th. Once May 15th, then I'll slowly start bringing people back. What is, that's about as much as people have planned. It's real crazy for me. Well, we need some gloves. Let's get some gloves, guys. Can't find any masks. Really? That's how you're going to solve the problem? That's how you're going to come as a leader and say, hey guys, that's where we're at. Showing up. Hey, Bill. Hey, Susan. How's it going? You guys staying safe? Oh, cool. Okay. May 15th. We're opening it up. This will be awesome. That is not leadership, guys. This planning overview, chapter 1 says planning involves elements of both art and science, combining analysis and calculation with intuition, inspiration, and creativity. This intuition that you've been God-given as a leader, you guys have that. What is your intuition telling you to do? The inspiration. How are you inspired to plan and then bring about that? I'm telling you, if you start writing out, get a Google Doc or a Word, Microsoft Word, and you start writing all this out for your employees, and you say, we're having mandatory meetings every day at 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. We're going to do it on Zoom. We're going to do it. And here's what we're going to do. Every day we're going to meet. We're going to be proactive. I'm assigning tasks to each of you. Here's what we're going to do. And this is what's going to happen May 15th. If the governor gives the go ahead and the clear, here's where we're going. Here's what we're going to do. I love, they have like a diagram on an overview of the Marine Corps planning process. It's the design is in the middle, and then it says problem framing, course of action development, course of action wargaming, course of action comparison and decision, orders development and transition. And all these things, and I don't want to, for the sake of time, I don't want to get into all. I'm kind of going to do an overlay. You can read this. You'll love it with it. Because planning must support the commander's decision-making, especially in a time competitive and evolving situation. The MCPP codifies the role of the commander in planning. The process applicable across the range of military operations and any echelon of command, whether you're leading 2 people or whether you're leading 2,000 people, this will work. The doctrinal underpinnings, I'm going to kind of get into this a little bit. And then, like I said, I encourage you to look this up online and you can read it for yourself. Doctrinal underpinnings. Planning should never be viewed as an isolated activity or process. Rather, as a part of the planning, execution, assessment continuum. Because situations change continuously, decisions are made in the face of relative uncertainty. While it is natural to seek additional information to lessen that uncertainty, it usually comes at the expense of time. Success in such a fluid environment that demands that Marines think critically, examine the nature of the problem as well as the purpose of the operation. Get this. You have to be fluid and think. You can't just sit and wait for the enemy to come to you guys. You've got to be proactive. Everybody's just waiting around till May 15th. Plan, execute, assess. Plan, execute, assess. You've got to be fluid. Okay, governor said this. We're hearing this. We're doing this. Let's move in this direction. Here's what we're going to do. You have resources that change. You have updated intelligence. You have revised guidance from maybe you don't have all the tools that you need. Maybe supply chains have broke down. What are you going to do? You've got to take all these inputs and organize them together. What happens if all of a sudden you get 100 customers show up in your store? You can't have that many in there. You're going to have to make a line. You got to have the little X's. You got to stand 10 feet apart. Do you have all that stuff planned? I like how they say this. The problem will evolve even while trying to solve it. If you're trying to solve a problem, the problem is always going to show itself. It may even show itself in a different way. That's why we have to be fluid. While this publication presents the 6 steps of the MCP sequentially, planning seldom occurs in a straightforward manner. It is not getting a chalkboard out and A, B, C, D, point one, sub. That's not what we're talking about here. You have to be able to frame the planning and doing in a process and have it fluid and moving, because what you don't understand is what you think could be good intelligence can turn around and be horrific. And next thing you know, you're getting flanked from the rear and you didn't even know what the intelligence that you got was they were a mile out. Developing tactical, operational, or strategic concepts for the overall conduct of military actions is conceptual planning. What that means is you have to be able to have people feeling free to be able to plan and be safe, so when they come together, they can give ideas. You're going to have to listen and let other people think. Susan may think it's a good idea to do this, this, or this, and you hadn't thought about it. And the next thing you know, it's like, let's implement that. That sounds awesome. So the lowest level of hierarchy can be a part of the planning. Now, you may only want 4 or 5 people in the planning in the beginning, and then those 4 or 5 people go to each of your departments, and then they sit with their people and let them listen. But you have to make sure that you understand that the people on the ground, the troops on the ground, they are seeing exactly what's happening, and they may have the ability to be able to go out and do what they need to do to accomplish their task, but they're going to give you input if you'll listen. Between the highest and lowest levels of the hierarchy is functional planning, which involves elements of both conceptual and detailed planning. Functional planning is concerned with developing supporting plans for discrete functional activities such as maneuvers, fires, logistics, intelligence, and force protection. And it can go into all these things, but what I want you to understand is, and those things, like when you look at maneuvers, how are we going to maneuver? We're going to go fields of fire. Where are we going to set up the machine gunner? Where are we going to set up, logistics? How are we going to get food? How are we going to get chow? That's really important. Who's going to sleep at what times? Where are we going to sleep at? Do we need to dig foxholes? Intelligence. Where are we getting our intelligence from? How reliable is it? And then force protection. Force protection in the sense of, who is the outside that can help come in? Do we need to call air support? How quickly and available is that? Is that 30 minutes out, 45 minutes out, hour and a half out? So conceptual planning provides the basis for all subsequent planning and should progress from the general to the specific. And I don't want to get like too heavy in this, but conceptual planning is you need to go from general. Okay, we have COVID-19. Here's where we're at. Our date of looking at entering the battlefield. If you want to look at that, it's May 15th. We're going to begin planning through this whole progress. We're going to get general. So we're going to do an overlay of this, our first planning meeting, and then we're going to get more specific until we're talking where we're going to get gloves. How are we going to resupply gloves? Who's going to wear gloves at what times? So that we get in the specifics of execution. This is where people break down in planning. They don't get specific. It is more important to execute than it is to sit there. How many people go on and on and on, but no one ever executes? You need to lead to the specifics of execution, it says here. So that's conceptual planning. The planning diamond does not operate in only one direction. Conceptual planning must be responsive to functional constraints. And it gets into, like levels of planning and stuff like that. And like I said, some of this is like really military, hardcore terminology, and it's Marine Corps. So that's how they do that. But I like it because it's really blunt. While conceptual, functional, and detailed planning are described in sequence, in practice, they are conducted in a more interactive manner due to uncertainty and time. So it's you being fluid and interacting with people, in real time. That's what they're saying. I like this. Introduction to design. Design is a conception and articulation of a framework for solving a problem. It is appropriate to problem solving at the strategic, operational, and tactical levels of war. So you have problem solving in the strategic way, in the operational way, and in a tactical way. So there's 3 different approaches to look at solving the problem. So we have one problem, and then we have 3 different avenues, 3 different things that are happening to correlate that. Let me give you an example for your business. People that stock the shelves. Okay. Those people are tactical. They're on the ground. So your cashiers, the people that are interacting with the customers, boom. Operational, how are these people going to be supplied? What schedule are they going to work? What computer systems are they going to use? That's the operational side of things. How are they going to get paid? Have we had a conversation about pay with them? Are we over communicating that so they feel safe? And then strategic is getting down. It's that big helicopter view of, you're the general and you're flying over in a helicopter, kind of looking at the whole battle. Or you're sitting up on that big hill and you're looking down and you're making adjustments. You're strategizing and making adjustments based on that. Design provides a means to learn and adapt and requires intellectually versatile leaders with high order thinking skills who actively engage in continuous dialogue and collaboration to enhance decision-making at all levels. The purpose of design is to achieve a greater understanding of the environment and the nature of the problem in order to identify an appropriate conceptual solution. Get this, guys. The purpose of design is to achieve a greater understanding of the environment. You need to understand the environment that you're in with your business and the nature of the problem. Wearing gloves and putting a mask on and having customers come in, and then your employees looking at them be like, I don't know why they haven't me wear this. We're trying to be ultra safe, And then that customer looking at you like, I'm fearful. This is my first time at my house. I'm engaging business with you. I don't want you coughing on me. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that you do the mask. And then you're bitching about wearing it. How safe are you going to be with washing your hands? That's what I'm thinking. Luckily you got gloves on, but still, where if you really think about the problem is this, or the nature of the problem, like they talk about, is making customers feel safe. What are your word tracks? What words do you use when you interact with customers? How do you interact with customers? How can you make them feel super safe? And then how can you encourage them after the interaction and they're feeling great to leave a Google review about how safe it was at your business, so that thousands and hundreds of people that look businesses up, and Google's algorithm is going to know, we'll see, just give you a little marketing hint right here. Google's algorithm will know and see that you're being safe and that customers are saying you're being safe, and they're going to promote your business above others. While not prescriptive or a checklist, design is based on critical thinking. This is in the manual. While not prescriptive or a checklist, design is based on critical thinking, conceptual planning, visualization, emergence of a hypothesis, and continuous activity. So what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is purposeful and reflective judgment about what to believe or what to do in response to observations, experience, verbal or written expressions, or arguments. Critical thinking involves the high-order cognitive skills of analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Analysis allows planners to see the parts and to recognize and explain patterns and meanings. You've got to see this. I know that this is happening, and so this is what I'm going to do. So what are the patterns and the meanings? I'm going to have a thermometer, an ear thermometer there, or whatever thermometer you use with the little plastic things. And I'm going to have Susan stand up there with the mask on and gloves, and she's going to check everybody's temperature right when they come into work. And that's where everybody goes. The first thing they do, they clock in, and then they go right to or before they clock in, they go right there and they get their temperature taken. And you write it down on a little piece of paper, everybody's temperature, so we know. Does that make everybody else feel safe? Of course. Will that person want to come to work just so they can get their temperature checked and they know? And then you're like, oh, temperature's normal. Oh, good. Yay. I'm safe. I feel good. Do you see what I'm talking about, guys? It is important. It's more than. Since this allows planners to predict and draw conclusions, create new ideas, and discuss what-if situations. Always do what-if situations. What if this happens? What if one of my employees get COVID and they were around 3 other people? What do I do? Have you guys planned for that? Evaluation allows planners to critique ideas, make recommendations, assess value, and make choices. All 3 high-order thinking skills are required in design. Conceptual planning allows commanders, members of their staffs, and others to develop an understanding of the environment and problem, as well as develop a broad approach to solve the problem. As the conceptual element of the planning hierarchy, design shapes the functional and detailed planning that follows. And I know that some of this, like I said, some of it can be really wordy. Conceptual planning, you have to look and understand the environment and the problem and develop a broad approach to solve the problem. So not only are you getting into this little area, because you got to look at a big brush, a big broad scope. So we want customers to feel safe. That's a big broad scope. Okay, now let's talk about that, guys. In both instances, the commander had a deep appreciation for the wholeness of the problem, including the adversity and environment. His resulting visualization concisely expressed how he intended to achieve success. You have to visualize success to your employees, guys. You have to let them know what it looks like and envision the future for them. That is you they used to call it casting vision, but it's you and being realistic about it, understanding the environment, the problem. And I can get into it. It talks about General Grant in 1864. It goes into General MacArthur during the Korean War, and they're giving examples of all this. I'm not going to get into that. And we've already gone 30 minutes, and that's all I wanted to do. But I encourage you, get this manual. It's free. It's going to help you. It's MCWP 5-10, Marine Corps Planning Process. It's free. It's at marines.mil, or you can just type in MCWP 5-10. I'll put a link in the show notes. You'll be able to get that. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys make a plan. Make a plan. May 15, we're probably opening up. Be proactive. Make a plan. Have success. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share and go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.